Yes, right after the Senate committee released their report, what does the USA do? It raids WHAM, probably the most well-run compassion center and caregiving organization in America.
And that was in Santa Cruz. And the great thing about WHAM is that they grew their own pot. Didn't really sell it. It was a cooperative. You'd all contribute work. You'd all raise the crops. You'd all split the harvest, and that would hopefully be people's stash for a year. So it wasn't even like commercial sales were going on.
Their karma was so clean, and they went after these people. And so the state of California responded. They defended them. They say, "Hey, you want to hand out pot here? Hand it out on our steps of the city hall, and we'll protect you." And that seems to be the way things go here in pot activism. Is don't be afraid to get busted. Just make a lot of friends and keep your heads held high when it's happening, and it'll just blow back in their face, and we'll get stronger and stronger every time.
By the way, Gray Davis, was he re-elected this fall? Was he up for re-election in California, and Bill Lockyer?
Oh man,
I know
Canadian politics has been for once so interesting. I haven't been following the American nightmare scene. I heard just today, just on Pot TV News, they said they're going to start treating cannabis use as the highest priority over rape, murder, and arson. Are they crazy? Or terrorism? What are they thinking?
The White House has told the National Council of District Attorneys, or some acronym that reflects the National Association of District Attorneys, to educate the public and tell them marijuana is way more harmful, and that they're gonna start basically tracking down activists and really putting the pressure on.
Wow.
And in Canada, we don't have mandatory minimums, so judges still have the greatest degree of discretion in any given case here. That's not true in the United States, where district attorneys basically set law, set terms, set sentencing, and have a lot of control.
Hold on down there. We're coming for you. We're going to get some nice laws up here, and then you won't be able to stand our freedom. There'll be too many people coming up here for holidays of freedom, coming back down, telling tales of freedom. It won't last long in the States. Just hold on.
Well, I'm hoping you're right there. I've been at this for 12 years, and you've been at this for 7.
Yeah,
so
10,
10. So let's hope we're just not like blowing smoke up there.
No, we have some genuine hope up here. We're doing better than most scapegoats.
At least everybody's talking about it. And
that's right.
Different. That wasn't the case 6-7 years ago.
Think of us as the Belgians in World War I, not the Jews in World War II. We got friends, we got dignity, we're going places.
What happened to the Belgians in World War I?
Well, they were rounded up by the Germans, told to go into the work camps. They sat down, refused to work. A couple people in high places mentioned it. It was in the papers a lot. A couple people in high places mentioned, hey, you shouldn't force those Belgians to work. And the Germans turned them back to Belgium. Okay, sorry, see you later.
Good thing they tried that in the first war, not the second. But
it's just a stigma sticked with Judaism.
All right, what's this about an Ibogaine conference?
Oh, that was November was a crazy month of the Schwaggate, the NIDA Schwaggate. They're using.
That's right. They're experimenting in Canada with not even real pot.
That's right.
It's pot extract sprayed back on pot, given to patients of a low THC quality, and then when the inevitable results don't transpire, that's going to be like marijuana's failure as medicine.
Exactly. Well put. And that was covered by our direct action series. Exposed that, and then at the same time they were passing out the Shawnee research as marijuana research. We had the mayoral campaign here in Vancouver.
In November, I ran for mayor.
Then marked very well. You got thousands of votes.
Yeah, and the votes were nothing in a sense.
Lots of attention.
The votes were nothing because basically the 10 city council members all favor legalizing pot, as does the current mayor. So
yeah,
the
pressure worked.
The pressure worked. We've changed the nature of politics in Vancouver, but it doesn't mean I get elected. But it does mean promoted Ibogaine therapy for hard drug addicts a lot, and in fact, I've been rewarded by that because the Journal of the American Medical Association mentions me by name in their current issue as being one of these underground pioneers of Ibogaine, and it's been fascinating, and we have been treating lots of hardcore drug addicts.
And you got a lot of respect in that election too, because whenever they mentioned 3, they mentioned the top 3, but you were whenever they mentioned 4, you were the other main player.
Be the other serious candidate in most of the debates and stuff, and then nobody else was invited.
And on Terminal City cover too.
Yeah, no, that was good. No, Rafe Mayer, I was the 4th guy there, and that was great. Yeah. And also, I was the only person that got taken seriously at debates too, like in regards to that. And also, I got to talk to Larry Campbell, the current mayor, the newly elected mayor, at least 24 times, 20 times. He heard me over and over again, and I know he believes a lot of it, but he just doesn't think it's practical. But he's ruling that when 40% of the city says we should legalize these drugs, which is what I advocated during the campaign, and give them out to addicts under prescription or free of charge, just so they don't steal. But we're making progress.
It seems like we're pretty much on the same page with pot too. We'll see what we can get away with under his rule.
Yeah, so we ran for election in November, and then of course our big month in
December. We
John Walters comes, and David and I and 6 others, Dane Larson, we heckled him and we corrected all his lies, of which they were numerous. He was doing all right until he got to pot, and then he had to stray.
You know who started yelling first? Chris Bennett.
Oh yeah, Chris Bennett.
He's like, lies!
Your pot TV
Forced
director.
treatment!
Yeah. Yeah, Chris was probably the most exuberant, we'll say that. And there were 2 tables of cops that were furious at us.
Oh yeah.
Told us to shut up. And it was really quite interesting that this table of marijuana activists and the table of cops are shouting back and forth while the drug bar's up there shouting, and the 2 mayors are right in between it on what to think.
The best $750 you ever spent.
Yeah, that was good,
yeah.
But he hates me now. He's coming to get me.
There was international press there, folks. There was like maybe 200
I never saw
cameras.
such a battery of cameras. When I went there, I had more cameras on me than at any point during the election.
That's right.
I was stunned.
Actually, more cameras on us than at any point in our lives.
Oh my God, it was a battery.
Hey, if John Walters ever comes to your town for a Board of Trade talk or discussion, chip in, get the $750 table, and have fun with it. Go nuts.
You'd probably get escorted out, though, in the United States.
In the United States, you might. You know, it's still worth it. Let them know that there's always opposition wherever.
See,
he
a whole
goes.
table is too much to escort. You can't escort 8 people out conveniently.
Yeah.
And because he's American and his 35 Secret Service detail guys are all American, they have no authority in Canada other than to protect him. So they just sat there and stood there and kept their beady eyes right on.
I was thinking the whole time, even if I get a beating out of this, it'll still be worth it, because they need to know there are humans out there that vehemently resist and vehemently disagree and are willing to let them speak, but as soon as they open their mouths and lie, call them
If
on.
anybody in law enforcement, I'm not of the beating persuasion. I'm beyond that. I'm in my 40s now, but David's still healthy. And
No. I'm beat from being beat.
Do you ever see that Chris Rock thing about 10 ways to avoid getting your ass kicked
from the police? Unless you're an activist and you got a camera and you're out to do some damage.
And finally, in December 13th, we went to the Supreme Court, and even though they adjourned the hearing, it's still going to be great because they gave the Crown a really hard time over the obvious contradictions of, on one hand, the government trying to go to the Supreme Court and saying marijuana is a dangerous drug to be regulated, and on the other hand, the Justice Minister saying marijuana is relatively harmless, we should just make it a $200 fine.
You know, he never said it's relatively harmless. What he said was the penalties across the country are different. So we wanted to level them out, which means he wants to give fines everywhere. So we're going to address that decrim shenanigans when we get back.
The fines because we can finish.
You
that
can
up.
afford to pay the fines. I can't.
Yeah, but that's the thing. We'll just make them prove it's marijuana for $200 fine.
I don't think. I'd like to argue on principle, and I think that they could probably afford to give us all fines and keep giving us fines until we can't pay the fines.
No.
They'd make us go to jail in lieu of fines.
No. For $200, we go in and have a huge.
But it's $1,000.
No, it won't be the first one.
But the third offense. No, I'm fighting against fines too, because folks, if we were gay and they said, okay, no more criminalizing sodomy,
not necessarily gay.
But say we were homosexual activists and representing the homosexual community, and they said, we're going to give you fines instead of criminal records for sodomy. That wouldn't give you the same amount of dignity as heterosexuals. So why should we stand for even a 5-cent fine? If I'm not harming anyone, John Stuart Mill says I should not be visited upon by any evil. Not just the threat of imprisonment, but any evil whatsoever.
You know, I'd like
I don't
to
think we
see
should
a study
get punished.
that shows you if sodomy were legal or illegal, where it's practiced more. I think that'd be the fascinating thing there.
Well,
if the illicitness of sodomy encourages it.
There is that rebel factor with pot.
Once sodomy's legal, you get blasé about it. Nah, I don't need to do that.